Hi everyone. So I'm just gonna quickly show how you can AFK the story mode, any story mode, with Levi and Hitman. So you just want to go to Fire City. You can do normal, but I do hard, otherwise normal breaks my macro. So you can just do normal. And basically when you spawn in, you just want to do your settings for your macros. So continuous playback on. I use F8 for my recording and playback. I just change them because it's easier. And so you start your macro and you just click start at the top. And then you ult with Levi immediately. And you basically just wait for his next ultimate. It's really all this macro is. It's just waiting for Levi's ultimate. And if you have triple S cooldown, I only have triple damage for now. But if you have triple S cooldown, this becomes a lot faster. And of course, I'm going slower so that you can actually make sense of what I'm doing instead of just rushing all the steps. And so once you've waited for Levi's first ult, you do his second. And then you just want to switch to Hitman or Sakamoto. You don't need Levi. You can use Sid, but you can't do it above easy with Sid. But you still need Sakamoto. And so once you switch to Sakamoto or Hitman, you unstuck and you just impact. Sometimes on this, when you use your Z ability, it just bugs out and doesn't even hit the mini boss. So you just want to keep spamming until you're sure your next Levi ultimate is up. And so usually at this point, it's only like around 1 minute 30 seconds. I think around that point where I finish with my regular macro, but here it's taken over 2 minutes. I think for any other act below Fire City, you just ult spam with Levi and then you save Sakamoto for the boss. Because there's no mini bosses in other maps. And now that you are on the boss phase, you just switch to Sakamoto again. And then you go until the boss teleports to you. And then when the boss teleports to you, you ult with Sakamoto. And you just spam all your skills really. You just want to kill the boss. The reason why it's Fire Force Act 1 is because the boss at the end is permanently burned. So you can just trigger overload all the time. And it's so broken. Now, my Levi is level 100 with Warlord. But you don't need a high level Levi or a good trait on your Levi. If he just clears 2 waves, then your Levi is fine. It doesn't matter. Because you need to use his ult twice. Anyways. And then switch if there is a mini boss. And now that I've completed, you see I got my food. I have 419 out of 1,000 right now. I'm just spamming just in case the boss survives. Because sometimes that happens. And then you just want to replay. You don't want to go back to lobby. You just want to replay. And that's the macro. It's about 1 minute faster than what I have right now. But I only went slower because I wanted to demonstrate. Now you can continue to watch. This is just me letting the macro play out so that you can see it works and it loops. As you can see on the top, the counter is going down. I'm not touching my keyboard or nothing. It really is just only a few buttons. And it's really simple. Of course, if you want the best macro, you want Levi. But not everyone has him yet. You should definitely farm for him though. I feel like he's just going to be the best story unit for a long time. And even if anyone's better than him, it just adds to him. And it adds to the macro. It basically halves the macro time. By about what? By half? Like instead of 4 minutes for your macro, you'll do 2 minutes. If there is another unit like Levi, you can just hit the whole map and then clear 2 waves at once. My Levi clears 3 waves at once, which is why sometimes macros don't work with him if it has a mini boss. So I just can't use easy mode because sometimes he will kill the mini boss, both of them, and then other times he'll only kill the first wave of the mini boss, but then when he ults again, the macro is like a whole wave behind and it just breaks. Which is why you just wanna use Sakamoto. And also why you wanna go to a higher difficulty if your Levi is doing a lot of damage. And is why I'm farming for the second Levi just for farming. So he's only gonna have triple S cooldown, maybe triple S damage, and then swiftly for the trait. Just to get his cooldown as low as possible. Anyways, the macro is about halfway done, so I'm just gonna let it play. You can skip it if you want. Another tip I would say, this one is like specifically for the macro, even more specifically the part with the mini boss. Sometimes Sakamoto's Z move, like the single hit move, like the flashy move that sends you all over the place but only does one hit. Sometimes it will miss the mini boss completely if you do it third, like the final hit, or just after the barrage, the C move. Sometimes the mini boss just won't get hit, and that ruins your macro because he'll just one shot your Sakamoto just standing there. So if you want to make this macro just last even longer, because sometimes I wake up and I see that my macro broke for no reason. I think that's a device issue on my end though, because it works 72 times overnight and then on the 73rd it breaks or something. I don't know how that works. It's probably because I run it for 8 hours. But I'd say it's more of a me issue than a macro issue. The macro is fine. It shouldn't break. I feel like the only time you should be AFK farming food like this is when you have an abundance of raid tickets or it's the weekend for double EXP. Because I feel like it's my personal opinion. You shouldn't be doing this over the weekdays or like just during the week when there's no times 2 EXP. I feel like this would work so much better with times 2 EXP alongside it. Raid tickets are just so valuable. They always will be. 600 gets you 50 rerolls a week. And it's even less for spell cards, which are also really good. If you need a raid macro, I'm sure you can find one on YouTube. But if you want me to make one, because I'm pretty sure they're outdated, but I can check. If I see a video saying that you only need to use one character, that's outdated, because you can easily make a macro where you can use 3 characters, or even like a Benimaru Icebreak Cold Burn team for just more damage overall. Because it just doesn't matter if your M1s move your way. You can just unstuck to the boss, or just not use the M1s altogether. Alright, and also to mention, Rem is just really good right now. Like, she's really good. She's like an amazing boss killer now. Like, she's worth the raid tickets. Especially since she got buffed again, I'm pretty sure. 2 buffs is crazy though. She should have been this good. All I'm saying is, they need to buff Benimaru next, or Blaziken, the secret banner unit. I don't even use him. He's so bad. If anyone wants like a team building guide, because there is team building in this game. It's very simple, but it's like everyone already knows the Mochi and the legendary unit Mochi and Sakamoto for Overload, because his Z move lost like the whole thing. There was a video on that, really good. Another team comp I'm thinking about right now, just off the top of my head, is a universal one that you can just slap with any DPS character, preferably anyone who can just burst really fast. It's gonna sound crazy, but Doma, that's not crazy, but the crazy part is Doma, Sasuke, and then any DPS unit who doesn't have like a long ult or has a damaging ult. Because Doma applies freeze, right? Sasuke applies shock with his, and they're both off field. So while they're applying Ice Break, and they last a decent amount of time, you can easily swap to your next character, and then they do 50% to 60% more damage. Because you can't use this team for everyone. Like, it's definitely not gonna work for every character. But it does work for a lot of characters who don't have elemental reactions or are just lacking in their own damage. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye!